All hail the king. So everybody, I just got back from seeing Black Panther and I get to do something really exciting. I get to introduce you all to Liz.
Hello everyone.
Liz is my co-host on one of my podcasts, Punch Like a Girl, which is over on the Fire and Water Network. There's always a link in the description on every episode I put up. She is also my partner. And yeah, we just saw Black Panther and
Yes,
little excited to talk about it. We'll keep it spoiler free initially just so you can get a sense of the vibe from us, but we're probably going to start getting into spoilers before too long, but I'll try and give you a heads up before we get there. But you're shaking in your whole... I'm getting a sense you liked it.
I did. I really, really enjoyed it. I would even say I loved it. I would say that. It was just, it was beautiful. It was so much more than I expected in terms of like woman power, and
there are some really kick-ass ladies in this movie.
Oh, there are so many. I mean, I had heard that, like, I had read a headline that was like, yeah, the girls rule this or whatever, and I was like, oh, okay. But I was like, oh, this is so great. Love the ladies in this movie. Beautiful world. Oh my gosh, the costumes. And the hairstyles and everything.
Aesthetically, this is an astounding movie. It just... This movie looks like nothing else I've ever seen looks. Which was... Ultimately, that was the main thing that I wanted out of this. I didn't have a particular set of expectations for the plot, but I wanted...
Which was surprisingly good.
Which was a good plot.
Yeah.
But I didn't really have any expectation of that. My expectation going in was I wanted to see a world and a setting that I hadn't seen before. And I got exactly that. I got that here even better than I got it in Doctor Strange. And I was happy with Doctor Strange when I saw it. This is a much more complete, and all, like, the vast majority of this movie is set in Wakanda. I don't consider that to be a spoiler, but like that, you spend a lot of time in this world, and it's awesome. It's
really amazing. It is. It's just so gorgeous. The lights, the technology, the clothing, the jewelry, everything is just gorgeous. If they do not get like best costume design, I will be so angry at the Oscars next year. If they don't win, I will be angry. If they don't get nominated, oh.
Well, we'll see what happens. Unfortunately, Oscars has a long-term memory problem, so things that come out in the early part of the year don't always do well.
Come on.
That said, Get Out was like a February release too, and that got a crap ton of nominations. So I don't know, maybe the dynamic's changing. We'll touch on this again in a year and see if you're either seething or satisfied with the world.
Yes, we shall see.
The performances are all great. I mean, we already knew Chadwick Boseman was good in this part because we saw him in Civil War.
Yes.
I suppose that's worth mentioning for people who don't listen to Punch Like a Girl, because I know way fewer of you do that than watch this channel.
Join us at Punch Like a Girl.
Please. But in any case, obviously, you know, I don't have to go through my credentials. I've been living and experiencing, you know, various superheroes to various degrees since adolescence. Your background on these is a bit more limited, mostly to the films in this case, unless I'm wrong.
Yeah, it's mostly to the films. Yeah, my geekdom is more book related for the most part, and only recently graphic novels and comic books. So the last 7 years or so, and more concretely and frequently the last, I don't know, 2 years or so?
Yeah, about that.
Yeah, two and a half years. Yeah.
Since I started loaning her stuff, basically.
That's not true. I had some of my own stuff through the library collection, and I introduced you to plenty, so don't pat yourself on the back.
Okay, no, fair. No, I deserve that. Put me on my place.
And I had done some, like, I've read, like, Watchmen and V for Vendetta and some of the major titles of my own before that, so it wasn't
No.
I am still, and by no means an expert or anything, and still very novice, but...
Well, I mean, I think that's a nice perspective to have, though, because you're coming in as someone who isn't steeped in the lore, and I'm not even... Have you seen all the Marvel movies, or just most of them?
I have seen most of them. I have not seen the Hulks, either one. I have not seen Ant-Man. I have not seen... I think I fell asleep during one of the Thors.
Probably the second one, if I were to guess.
Not the most recent one, which
No.
was really good and the best.
But my point where I was going with that was that it kind of shows you don't have to have been steeping in this stuff, either the source material or even all the movies to get something out of this film.
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah, but I've seen most of them.
Okay.
So yeah.
I thought you had.
Yep.
But I mean, I already mentioned Chadwick Boseman, but there was not a bad performance in this movie. And actually, when I stopped and thought about it,
there really isn't.
The caliber and like the number of Oscar nominees and Oscar winners who are in this movie, when I actually stopped and thought about it, made me go, holy crap.
Oh, when we were talking about it, you forgot to mention Angela Bassett, because I'm pretty sure
she has a nomination?
I'm thinking maybe for like What's Love Got to Do with It, maybe?
Possibly.
I don't know. We will check. We will get back to you on that.
But I mean, it's multiple, including a current one with Daniel Kaluuya, who I actually didn't even realize was in this, but has a fairly significant part in it, which we can't really get into too much without sort of dipping into spoiler stuff. But I think we kind of do need to just go there because... We can say, like, our favorite characters. Oh, go for it.
So mine was Shuri, who I just called Little Sis throughout the movie, and who was just awesome and sarcastic and was the tech geek, essentially, and just ran everything from distance and was amazing and adorable, and, like, you're introduced to her by, like, flipping her brother off in her very first scene, and that sets it up pretty easily.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess that's a minor spoiler, but that's an early one.
I have a hard time picking a favorite character because they're all real. I mean, I think the one that's probably going to stick with me, and I got to look this up because otherwise I'm going to get pronunciations wrong. It was probably Okoye, who was the general.
She was awesome.
And that's Denai Guerrera. Very possibly butchering these names. Apologies. But everybody was good in this movie, but she was striking, and she had a strength and a presence. Just looking at somebody, I could just think in my head, like, how is that person not crumbling to their knees right now just from the strength of that look?
I mean, she somehow managed to glare at a wig on her own head. Like, that's how amazing she did. I don't know how she got her eyes to do that, but she did. It was very impressive.
It was. And I think we do need to get into spoilers because otherwise we're just talking very vague. It's good. So this is your spoiler warning. It's good. Go see it.
Please. It's beautiful. It's finely acted. It's a great addition to the Marvel movies. It's so much woman power. So yeah.
So getting into things,
spoilery.
Getting a bit more spoilery. Yeah, I was kind of pleasantly surprised just how prominent the female characters were, and I think a lot of that because
Marvel does not have a great track record.
Well, I wasn't even gonna go there, but you're not wrong. Until relatively recently, at any rate, because I mean, Valkyrie was great.
Oh, there's that, yes, but that's like one. This is the thing. Like, Black Widow's great, Valkyrie's great, Scarlet Witch is pretty good, but we had to wait forever to get two in, like, Civil War. So. Or not Civil War. Was it?
Yeah, it was Civil War.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, I sometimes mess up the titles. But, like, it took forever. And we have, like, at least four
prominent
female characters.
Yeah, important. But I think what's interesting about it is because of the way it builds this world, it never feels like tokenism. Because it creates a world where the role of women in this society, in Wakandan society, is not restricted in a way that colonial Western civilization is. So you can look, because of how complete this world is and it feels, you look at someone like the General, who was my favorite, and you see her with her little crack squad of these women with spears, and you just get, oh, this is their elite guard. That's the elite guard in this society. So it's not like, oh, there's the woman they put in that the movie put in a position that would normally be a man.
Woman in the guard.
Yeah, for the sake of empowerment. Like, no, this is just how this society is built. So it in no way does it feel like just throwing a bone to have more female characters. It feels properly integrated into this amazing world that they set up. So, I mean, that was really cool. I kind of want to talk the villains, because we skipped over them completely.
I really did. We kind of had to.
Yes.
But yeah, I definitely have some things to say on that as well.
Because there's a couple of villains in here. Now, there's Claw, who we've seen before, because he appeared in Age of Ultron.
I really kind of dimly remember him, but...
Well, it's Andy Serkis clearly having a blast. He's very clearly having a lot of fun. And I was shocked they killed him. Because in the comics, Claw is basically Black Panther's arch nemesis.
Well, his name's Claw, so that makes sense.
Yeah.
Pair him with the Panther.
Yeah. But he is Black Panther's long-term recurring major baddie. Like, if you are going to do who is the villain for Black Panther, it's Claw. So the fact that they killed him, I was surprised by.
I'm kind of glad they did, so we could focus on the other villain, because I think that was...
that was the other thing, that it surprised me that it happened, and then it surprised me that I was okay with it.
Yeah, I mean, for the setup it was, and it took me a while to like him, Michael B. Jordan's character. Like,
you had to get a better sense of why he was doing it, and he was in danger for about the first half of being just another Malekith, just another Ronan the Accuser, just another guy who comes in with an agenda that we are told but don't really get our fingers into. But we get the depth in him basically not that long after he takes out Claw and takes over the primary villain role. Because actually the movie had been focusing so much on Claw up prior to that, that you would not be making a huge leap to think that Michael B. Jordan was just going to be a minion to him.
Oh no.
So,
oh no, he is all about the power and has really great reasons for it. Such compelling reasons for a villain.
It was, I mean,
it was really well done.
It helps that Michael B. Jordan is such a magnetic performer in the first place. That helped. But it also helped that not only did we get the personal motivation for this guy in terms of feeling abandoned and the death of his father and things like that.
Just the sheer anger that had been building for years.
Yes. I mean, oh boy, I kind of want to come back to that. But so there's all that, but also part of what he's saying also makes sense in that, you know, Wakanda has just shut itself off from the world, and there are people, you know, black people that are like them, suffering across the world, and they have the power and the means and the technology to help, and they don't. And now, obviously, he's still the bad guy because he wants to use Wakandan technology to kill and overthrow and enslave the people that he sees as oppressing his folks. Yes. Whereas ultimately, by the end,
eye for an eye.
Ultimately, by the end, T'Challa has made the decision to, yes, we are going to now
take our technology out of the world.
We're going to be more active in the world, but we're going to use it to help, not to hurt. But, you know, they do give him, but all of the villains, except for Claw, who's just in it for money and who's a dick, but pretty much all the villains you know, being Killmonger, who's Michael B. Jordan, and
Killmonger, yes, thank you.
Wakabi, who is Daniel Kaluuya, who he's not even really a proper
not really
villain, but
I did not see him as a villain.
He does side with Killmonger, though.
Yeah, but
I mean, just go with me for a minute.
All right.
In both cases, they are motivated primarily by unchecked anger. Mm-hmm. And it shows that anger, even, you know, earned, and you can't say you don't have a right to that anger, can lead to just so much destruction. And I think that was a good approach to take with him as a villain.
Yeah, there was a lot of anger, a lot of pent up stuff. Even with the other tribe, the gorilla tribe.
Yeah, because they've got. I
mean, he's not a proper villain either, but he kind of almost is one in the beginning when they have their little duel, which awesome. I think I totally promote more like fighting with a spear and a shield on top of a waterfall. Like, more battles like that, please. Like, all the time. Well, maybe not all the time, because that made it very unique, but those were amazing battles.
Those were great battles, and I was impressed at how intense that first one was. Because that should have felt like a token action scene. It should have been like, we know he's gonna win. We know the good guy's gonna win. This is like in the first 20 minutes. But they still made the hits hurt. They still made the threat real, and
I have to
that's
say,
impressive.
I have never seen a movie where people like fall and thud so hard as in this movie and get thrown around, and it's
the hits hurt.
It's you're like, oh, like whenever someone gets thrown or falls or like it's impressive. It's painful. The action scenes were great, and that was great too. Was that there was just a variety. We had a car chase in South Korea. We had like we had 2 waterfall battles. We had, you know, the main sequence. We had like a spaceship fight. We had like so much going on.
You had a rhino charge.
We had rhinos. There are not enough rhinos in movies, like charging. Yeah, people. Yeah.
No, this is very true. I think if I
asked for a rhino, I was like, "Can you get me one of those rhinos?"
I'm looking into it. So, if there's one criticism I'm gonna level again, and this is truly the only thing I can think of that while I was watching, I was like, some of the early action scenes are a little cut heavy and a little shaky cam. The one in the casino, I think, is probably the biggest offender of that, and that's partially hindered also by the fact that one's probably got the darkest lighting of any action scene.
Really bother me.
It wasn't awful.
I preferred it to the action, the casino action scene in the latest Star Wars movie. I set you up for that one.
Thanks so much for bringing that back into my life. Okay.
You're welcome.
But like I said, it wasn't even that bad. Like, in terms of shaky cam, a few too many cuts, offenses, it's minor. And it's really only a couple of fights early on, because the major key fights that need to visually flow well did. The fights between Killmonger and T'Challa, the big battle between the tribes at the end. That stuff is all well shot and clear and well lit and works. So when I make that complaint, it's literally like probably a minute worth of footage I'm complaining about minorly.
I also enjoyed that it wasn't a bunch of guns for fights. I love the spears.
There were almost no guns in this. I mean, Claw had his hand cannon thing.
Yeah, but that's not really a proper gun.
No, but that was kind of it, because it's spears and it's claws and it's like
technology and like
one or two energy weapons and
yeah.
Oh god, yeah, and the technology was really cool and really inventive as well, both in terms of what it did, but also especially visually, because again, they really Ryan Coogler, who directed and co-wrote this, really embraced fully the whole Afrofuturism aesthetic and this whole idea of what if what if Africa was never colonized? What would that technology look like? If we just remove all influence of how Westerners built their technology up, what would that look like?
The suits were so cool. The Black Panther suits, like that they were like came from the necklaces, and like I love the scene underground with like the trains and how it's kind of like flowing between their skin and like the suit and like a little of both. And just whenever he got hit, it absorbed kinetic energy, so it would glow this like purple color. I love anything that glows, like Shape of Water with the creature, the river god. Yeah, it was just great.
That was really great.
Blue glowies, anything that glows in suits and creatures I love that.
I think the one other thing, if you saw this either not having seen the trailers, not having over-examined the trailers, or having forgot them, you would have enjoyed it a bit more, because I think the trailers showed just a little more than they should have, specifically in terms of making it clear that there were going to be two people in Black Panther suits duking it out. Yeah. Because
that's true.
There was a woman sitting close to us, like 2 down from us, who was super pumped for this movie, but obviously either didn't watch all the trailers or had forgotten what was in them, because when Michael B. Jordan, when the suit went out, I heard her go, "Oh!" It was great. And I'm sitting there going, man, I wish I could have that reaction, but I can't, because they showed that moment in the trailer.
I had kind of forgotten about that, luckily. But
let's see, you're lucky then.
But I mean, there were some things, like I knew Forrest Whitaker was gonna die.
Yeah, that was an easy
I was kind of like, yeah, if you were the cause of this whole family, like, rivalry and everything going on, yeah, you're not gonna. The moment I knew that, I was like, I love you, but goodbye. You're gonna have to sacrifice yourself.
Speaking of him, because he's connected to this, can I just say how much I love the visual aesthetic of the astral plane?
Yes. Oh gosh, it was gorgeous.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, the Northern Lights are here. That's awesome.
All of that was.
Then
was
them
gorgeous.
pouring like the red sand over them and getting buried, and just like the what did they call them? The heart-shaped.
The heart-shaped herb.
That heart-shaped herb. Yeah, those were cool. Yeah. Dude, don't burn it all down. You might need to use it later. Like, I was like...
Well, I mean, he
wanted to go, though.
Yeah, well, he's not a ruler, he's a conqueror. He's not there to be the new protector of this land. He's there to...
He's Alexander the Great, he's Julius Caesar.
He's Daenerys in the first 4 seasons of Game of Thrones, not ruling, just conquering.
Yeah.
So.
Yup.
But yeah, all the stuff, the conflict felt real and genuine, and even though we had a character who, kind of was a bit of a turncoat and sided with Killmonger, you understood why, and it made sense. Everybody seemed properly motivated for everything that they were doing. Good guys, bad guys.
And I love that conflict between him and Okoye.
Yeah.
The fact that they were on opposing sides, and she's like, yep, I'll take you down. And he was like, okay, dropping the weapon.
Will you kill me, my love, for Wakanda? Yes. It's like, okay, I'm just gonna
put this down.
Okay.
I would not mess. I don't think anyone should mess with her.
No, I would. Oh, when she and her guards were facing up against Killmonger, I was really afraid they were gonna kill her, and I'm so glad they didn't.
I didn't think they were gonna kill any of the major women. I was hoping not, but
I did get worried, but I'm glad they didn't.
I'm very glad as well.
And
if they had killed little sis, if they had killed Shuri, I would have been like punching the movie screen.
I would have had to hold you back if they'd done that.
Yes.
And we've got Martin Freeman on hand as Agent Ross, whose
name I did not know throughout the whole movie.
Who admittedly is just kind of there. He is mainly there just to connect things back to the rest of the MCU.
Yeah.
So he's kind of standing in for Nick Fury a little bit.
He's the token white guy.
He kind of is. And I kind of, now that I've said that out loud, that he was kind of subbing for Nick Fury, I kind of wish they just used Nick Fury.
Yeah.
Like, I almost feel like that would have...
Oh, it would have been awesome.
That would have been...
Samuel Jackson.
Yeah.
He would have had a blast.
Yeah. Exactly. I'm having trouble off the top of my head right now remembering what his current status in the movies is, whether he's still supposed to be pretending to be dead or not. I can't remember. But
I'm really bad at the SHIELD part of the MCU, remembering all that. Like,
if it was logistically possible, I kind of would have preferred Nick Fury to Agent Ross. If I like, probably after we stop recording, or somebody in the comments will tell me if it wouldn't make logical sense. Someone's gonna point it out.
Thank you in advance for explaining it to us.
Yeah.
And there's a lot to keep track of in the Marvel Universe right now. Even with just my meager knowledge of the movies, I'm just like, who is siding with who, and what happened to this, like, secondary character, and, like, which villains have they killed off, and, like, what is Loki's status right now? I never know. Like, is Loki kind of being nice? Who is he playing now? Like, I always forget that.
Well, that's almost like what I think Loki would prefer. He wants you to not remember whose side he's
Good job,
on.
Loki.
But I think I've hit most of my major points. I had to really dig for the few tiny, I don't even really care nitpicks that I had. This was really good.
Yes, I would say I didn't like Claw as much as you.
I found him very enjoyable. I had fun with him.
And I mean, I wish I wouldn't have known Forrest Whitaker was going to die, and that was very predictable. But, I mean, that's kind of a given. Like, yeah. I mean, and again, I really like the fact that what they did with Killmonger. Like, I really spent half the movie being like, he doesn't work for me. I'm really not liking him. And then, like, the emotional depths started to show through, and you got the backstory, and, like, I'm like, I want to punch you, but I also want to hug you and be like, oh, honey. Like,
I think the scene that solidified him as a well-developed villain was after he had beaten T'Challa in the combat, and then the instant they started the ritual for him to have a vision, I got super excited, because I wouldn't have thought they would have done that. I don't mean like the Wakandans wouldn't have done. I didn't think the movie would bother to show that. It was like, but that's part of their tradition. So we get to see what his vision of communing with his father is.
A plane scene sold me on
him. And that really is what locks down, and you go, oh, I get this guy.
And like, his ending scene was amazing. There was a couple others I can't remember right now, but there was another time where I was just like, oh, I get you. Oh, thank you. Oh,
yeah. It was kind of sad to see him get killed really at the end.
I was like, oh.
But I think he kind of had
what he wanted.
Yeah, and that's also a character that, I mean, if you don't kill him off, you can't really do much but repeat the same arc you already did, and you can't. No. You can't do a proper redemption on this guy. He's too uncontrollable.
He's too angry.
Yeah, it doesn't work. So
there are and I mean, there are some people who are just too angry in real life, like that, are just have gone to the dark side, for lack of a better term, and like are like
to mix to cross the geeky streams, and by using that reference, add another layer onto that. There I go.
But yeah, I don't think he could really give in. And I mean, that his ending scene made that very clear.
Yeah.
He was not looking for redemption. So
yeah,
it was kind of heartbreaking.
And
you could tell it tore T'Challa up inside.
Yeah, he was not comfortable with with how all this went down and how it ended. He really wasn't.
That's a hard thing to learn about your father. Like this is some Greek mythology style stuff where it's like, oh, my dad killed.
I mean, it was really well summed up in T'Challa's own astral plane thing, where his father says to him, "You're a good man, and it's very hard to be a good man and be king."
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's very. There are some like Greek mythology, Shakespearean themes going on.
It was just great. I mean, let me put it this way. This was my most anticipated movie for this year. When 2018 started. Traditionally, my most anticipated films are kind of starting in the hole. And they have a history of letting me down more often than not. Especially last year. Last year, a lot of films I was really looking forward to let me down. Aww. This did not let me down at all. No, this was phenomenal.
I apparently got so excited my hair came down while I was doing this review. Like, that's how good it was. Yeah. Well, yeah, you know, that's the opinion of two white people on this movie.
Yes.
Let's just put that out there.
That's the charging rhino in the room, isn't it? The fact that that a Nordic woman and a British descendant man are sitting here talking about this movie. I think we need to close on that note before we dig this hole any deeper. Yes. So, thank you, Liz, for coming to the movie with me and agreeing to go on camera.
Yeah, this is a little frightening. Hello, Council of Geek fans.
So if you enjoyed Liz and enjoyed what happens when the two of us talk together, this is an additional plug for the Punch Like a Girl podcast. There'll be a link down below. There always is. There's also links for all the other stuff you can do, like support me on Patreon and follow me on Twitter and the other podcast stuff. All that stuff. Links in the description. So until next time, this council is adjourned.